Facts we stated. You wanna know something? Go back to basics. Most saw a trap and was called the Matrix. The world civilized, yet it's hard to. Relationships between men and women are natural, and they are very easy to have. It is maintaining them where most people find hardship. I think the most challenging part of it all is finding a healthy and intelligent partner with integrity that you can truly love, cherish, and reason with for the length of your life, especially when things get difficult. Intimate relationships between women and men are not easily solved. It is something you must work at through communication. We all know that things can get problematic when you choose the wrong person, especially if you decide to separate and children are involved. Now, intelligent people knows that it is important for a child to have both parents active in their life, regardless of personal differences. So they co-parent in order to facilitate the need of the child. But oftentimes, narcissistic parents who let their own needs and emotions override the best interests of the children try to intentionally alienate the child from the other parent for non-protective reasons. This is called parental alienation. And yes, it is child abuse. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. I'm fearless. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in. Some parents do an excellent job of turning their children against the other parent. Children caught in the middle of these circumstances are completely manipulated to the point where they become an absolute surrogate for the parent doing the alienating. These poor children are often not even aware enough to know what they are going through in order to process it all. For the feelings, the emotions, the neglect, the disregard, the repressed anger, the bitterness, and the betrayal that they may feel are all based on the position and perspective of whatever they are told by the parent that they live with. And eventually, they assume that everything that they're told by the alienating parent is true. Regrettably, this becomes the child's reality, and a confused, damaging relationship with the other parent involved, who is usually the father, is born. Is this all a coincidence? Let's see. If something happens once, that's an incident. If it happens twice, that's a coincidence. If it happens 3 or more times, it's systematic. In the United States alone, 90% of the parental alienators are the mothers. It is also estimated to be 22 million alienated parents who are predominantly the fathers. Now, if each parent has 2 children on average, and if both children were alienated, that would work out to be 44 million alienated children in the United States. And this is only the recorded cases. So, from a statistical viewpoint, you can clearly see that it is an ongoing, unnatural occurring frequency of a phenomenon in our population. And it is probable to foresee that this will eventually breed more dysfunctional children in our society. This alienating influence where the child rejects the other parent is recognized as psychological child abuse, for the child is being taught, whether deliberate or unconscious, to not have a relationship with the other parent, and whether parents realize it or not, it is the child's right to have a relationship with their other parent. And if that alienating parent is not supporting that, or not recognizing their own role, or not allowing that to happen, that's abuse. Oftentimes, the children caught in these situations usually don't realize that they're being abused, for they will defend the alienating parent with tireless effort, just like you see in cases where children defend people who abuse them sexually. Now, when a child passionately says that they don't want to see their other parent after family separation, that should raise a red flag, because it's not normal. Children naturally love their parents and want to be around them. So, where did the child get his or her viewpoint from? None other than the alienating influence from the other parent. Quietly as kept, parental alienation is a form of domestic violence, because the intent of the alienating parent's behavior is to harm the other parent and their relationship with their own child. The abused child then becomes a weapon just to hurt the other parent. Now, you have to reason that this is not something that transpires overnight. It must occur over time, for it's psychological warfare here. In this type of toxic household, the alienating parent must be demonstrating a behavior that sends a signal to the child. that it is unacceptable for the child to have a relationship with the other parent. And naturally, the child will respond to these signals by carrying out the parent's wishes, because their greatest fear is losing the emotional availability that parent offers. Now, if the child believes the false stories that they are being taught by the alienating parent, now that is just a tragedy. For the alienator is assaulting the child's memory, assaulting the child's feelings, assaulting the child's thinking and relationship with the other parent. An assault is a crime. Let me be blunt. If one parent is intentionally alienating the child from the other parent, something is mentally wrong with them. For a normal parent would not try to undermine the relationship between the child and the other parent. A normal parent appreciates that a child has a need for both their parents. And when an alienating parent cannot appreciate that, we already know that they lack the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, which is very sad as a parent. There is countless scientific evidence that confirms that an alienating parent is profoundly unstable, dysfunctional, a master manipulator, an accomplished liar, and they are very brilliant at influencing the perception of other people about a person. They are usually the aggressor with great confidence in their incorrect conclusions, meaning to them it feels right to do what they are doing, no matter how wrong they are. These abusive parents have a pattern. They use coercive control in order to dominate the child. Research has also shown that the parent being alienated is a helpless trauma victim with no power or control over what happens in their own children's life. For the alienating parent usually controls everything. I'm talking about the other parent's access and communication to their own child is regulated solely by a narcissist. This is literally hell for an alienated parent who wants to be in their child's life. The dreadfulness of murdering a parent who is still alive. Just think about that for a second. This parent played a part in bringing this child into this world, and that child all of a sudden decides that they no longer want that parent in their consciousness. That child, whether they know it or not, is literally murdering a huge part of themselves and being forced to live with it. In many cases, however, it's only when the child gets older and stop being influenced by the alienating parent do they reflect and realize the consequences of what they have been forced to do. Hopefully by then the other parent is still alive and well. When you look up the word parent, you'll find that it is plural, for it applies to both mother and father. We must realize that none of us would exist physically without the union of those two people who are your personal creators. Within the word parent is the word rent. That should remind you that your children are not your property, and therefore they do not belong to you. You were merely used by the creative forces as a vessel for them to come through you, as a means of showing you divine love. For there is no love higher than the unconditional love that parents express to their children. Your job as parents is to nurture them, love them, enjoy and support them by teaching them the right way of life, so that they can be productive adults one day and do the same for their children, perpetuating a cycle of positivity into this temporary state of existence we call life. So parents, stop doing this to your children. It's wrong. I'm Kef Ray, and this is Back to the Basic. Facts we stated. You wanna know something? Go back to basics. Most saw a trap and was called the Matrix. The world frivolized, yet it's hard to face it. So I spread truth, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness.